My wife said, "My ex is joining us for Christmas dinner. Be mature about it." I nodded, of course. What she didn't know was that I invited her ex's fiancé too. The dinner table turned into a scene nobody in my family will ever forget. I'm Derek, 29, and I've been married to my wife Vanessa for 3 years. This Christmas was supposed to be like every other, my parents hosting, my sister and her kids running around, good food, the usual family chaos. Until 2 weeks before the holiday, when Vanessa dropped a bomb that changed everything. We were in the kitchen on a Tuesday night. I was making pasta, she was scrolling through her phone, and out of nowhere she said, "So I invited Marcus to Christmas dinner at your parents' place." I stopped stirring. Marcus? Your ex? Marcus? Yeah, she said casually, not even looking up. He's going through a rough time and doesn't have family in the area. I thought it would be nice. Let me give you context. Marcus is Vanessa's ex-boyfriend from college. They dated for 3 years, broke up about 6 months before she and I met. She's always maintained they're just friends and that their relationship ended mutually. I've met Marcus exactly twice, once at a barbecue 2 years ago and once at a charity event last spring. Both times he was polite but had this weird energy around Vanessa, like they shared inside jokes I wasn't part of. "You invited your ex to my family's Christmas dinner without asking me first?" I said slowly. She finally looked up. "Derek, don't be insecure about this. Marcus and I are friends. That's it. And before you start, yes, I already told your mom and she said it was fine." That part stung. She'd gone to my mother before coming to me. "When did you talk to my mom?" "Yesterday. I called her to ask if we could bring an extra guest and explained the situation. She was totally understanding." I felt my jaw tighten. "Vanessa, that's not the point. You should have asked me first. It's weird to invite an ex to a family holiday." "It's only weird if you make it weird," she said, her tone getting sharper. "Marcus is going through a breakup and I'm being a good friend. I need you to be mature about this." There it was. The "be mature" line. Like I was a child throwing a tantrum instead of a husband whose wife just made a unilateral decision about our holiday plans. "Fine," I said. "He can come." She smiled. "Thank you." I knew you'd understand. I didn't understand. Not even a little bit. But I nodded and went back to stirring pasta while my brain started working overtime. That night, after Vanessa went to bed, I did something I'm not proud of, but don't regret. I went through her phone. I know, invasion of privacy, breach of trust, all of that. But something felt off, and I needed to know if my gut was right. What I found was worse than I expected. Vanessa and Marcus had been texting constantly, multiple times a day for the past 2 months. Nothing explicitly inappropriate, but the tone was way too familiar. Lots of inside jokes, lots of remember when messages, lots of her complaining about me. There was one message from 3 weeks ago that made my blood boil. "I miss what we had. Things were simpler." And her response, "I know." Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if we'd tried harder. I took screenshots, sent them to myself, deleted the evidence that I'd done so. The next day, I did some digging. Turns out Marcus hadn't gone through a breakup recently. He'd gotten engaged 4 months ago. I found his fiancée's Instagram pretty easily. Her name was Claire, and she seemed nice. Lots of photos of her and Marcus hiking, at restaurants, looking happy. There was even a photo from Thanksgiving with the caption, "Grateful for this man and our future together." So, Vanessa had lied. Marcus wasn't going through a rough time. And if Claire didn't know her fiancé was spending Christmas with his ex-girlfriend, well, that seemed like information she deserved to have. I created a burner Instagram account and sent Claire a DM, kept it simple and factual. "Hi, Claire. You don't know me, but I'm married to Marcus's ex-girlfriend, Vanessa. She invited him to spend Christmas with our family, and I thought you should know, since from your posts it seems like you two are engaged. If you want to talk, here's my number. She messaged me back within an hour. We moved to text. She had no idea Marcus was spending Christmas with Vanessa. In fact, Marcus had told her he was going to a work colleague's holiday party. Claire was upset, but also grateful I'd reached out. We talked for about 30 minutes, and by the end of the conversation, I'd invited her to Christmas dinner too. "Are you sure?" she asked. "Won't that be awkward?" "Probably," I said. "But I'm tired of being lied to, and I think we both deserve to know what's really going on." She agreed. The next week was normal on the surface. Vanessa talked about Christmas plans, what dishes we should bring, whether we should exchange gifts with Marcus. That last part almost made me laugh. I just nodded along, playing the mature husband she wanted me to be. Christmas Eve, Vanessa was in a great mood. She kept texting Marcus about timing and logistics. I heard her on the phone with him that night, confirming he'd arrive at my parents' house around 2 p.m. She was practically giddy. Christmas morning, we opened presents at home before heading to my parents' place. Vanessa got me a watch I'd mentioned months ago. I got her a necklace. We smiled and kissed and pretended everything was fine. We arrived at my parents' house around 1 p.m. My mom had gone all out, full turkey spread, 3 types of potatoes, green beans, rolls, pies. My dad was watching football. My sister Lauren was wrangling her 2 kids. It felt normal and warm, and I almost felt guilty for what I was about to do. Almost. Marcus showed up at 2:15 p.m. He brought wine and a charm that made my mom love him immediately. Vanessa lit up when he walked in, gave him a long hug that lasted about 3 seconds too long. I shook his hand firmly, smiled, and said, "Good to see you, man." "Thanks for having me," he said. "I really appreciate it." We all settled into the living room. Marcus fit right in, laughing at my dad's jokes, asking my sister about her kids. Vanessa kept finding excuses to sit next to him, to touch his arm when she laughed. I watched it all with a calm I didn't actually feel. At 2:45 p.m. the doorbell rang. "I'll get it," I said, standing up quickly. I opened the door to find Claire standing there in a red sweater, holding a bottle of wine, looking nervous but determined. "You must be Derek," she said. "Claire," I said warmly. "Thanks for coming. Come on in." I led her into the living room. The reaction was instantaneous. Vanessa's face went white. Marcus literally stood up so fast he knocked over his beer. "Claire?" Marcus said, his voice cracking. "What are you doing here?" "I was invited," Claire said calmly, looking at me. "Derek was kind enough to include me when he heard you'd be spending Christmas with your ex-girlfriend." The room went completely silent. My mom looked confused. My dad muted the TV. Lauren's eyes went wide. "Derek," Vanessa said slowly, standing up. "What is this?" "This is Claire," I said pleasantly. "Marcus's fiancée. Marcus, I don't think you mentioned to Claire that you were spending Christmas with Vanessa. And Vanessa, I don't think you mentioned to me that Marcus is engaged. So I thought we should all spend the holiday together. You know, be mature about it." I used her words, her exact words. Marcus looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. "Claire, I can explain." "Explain what?" Claire said, her voice shaking now. "Explain why you told me you were going to a work party? Explain why you're spending Christmas with your ex-girlfriend and her family without mentioning it to me? Explain why Derek had to be the one to tell me what you were doing?" "It's not like that," Marcus started. "Then what is it like?" she shot back. Vanessa turned to me, her face red now. "Derek, this is insane. You invited his fiancée to embarrass me?" "I invited her because she deserved to know where her fiancé was," I said calmly. "Just like I deserve to know that you've been texting your ex constantly and telling him you miss what you had." Her face went from red to pale. "You went through my phone?" "I did," I admitted. "And I found a lot of interesting conversations. Want me to share them with everyone?" My mom finally spoke up. What on earth is happening right now? Lauren was recording on her phone. I didn't stop her. Marcus tried to approach Claire. Baby, please, let me explain. Vanessa and I are just friends. She was going through some stuff and needed support. I wasn't going through anything, Vanessa snapped at him. What are you talking about? And just like that, their stories fell apart. Marcus claimed Vanessa needed emotional support. Vanessa claimed Marcus was the one going through a hard time. Neither story matched what they'd told other people. They were both lying, and they'd been caught. Claire looked at Marcus with disgust. We're done. Completely done. Don't come home tonight. Don't call me. I'll have my brother pack up your stuff. She turned to me. Thank you for telling me. I'm sorry I came to your family's Christmas, but I'm glad I know the truth. You're welcome to stay for dinner if you want, my mom said quietly, and I loved her for that. Claire shook her head. I think I need to go. But thank you. She left. Marcus stood there frozen for a moment, then grabbed his coat and followed her out without another word. The door closed. Vanessa stared at me with a mixture of fury and humiliation. I want a divorce, I said before she could speak. I've already contacted a lawyer. You can stay at your sister's place until we figure out living arrangements. Derek, she started. No, I interrupted. You brought your ex to my family's Christmas. You lied to me about why. You've been emotionally cheating on me for months. You made me feel crazy for being uncomfortable. So no, we're done. She looked around the room, at my parents, at Lauren, at the dinner table set for a holiday that was now completely ruined, and I watched her realize she had no allies here. She grabbed her purse and left without another word. Update 1. Christmas dinner was awkward, but we got through it. My mom kept apologizing for not asking more questions when Vanessa called about bringing Marcus. My dad said I'd handled it well. Lauren told me the video had already been shared with our extended family group chat, and everyone was on my side. I stayed at my parents' house that night. Vanessa texted me 17 times, ranging from angry to apologetic to pleading. I responded to one, talk to my lawyer. The next day, I went back to our apartment with my dad and brother-in-law to pack essentials. Vanessa wasn't there, but she'd left a note on the kitchen counter. I'm sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. Can we please talk? I threw the note away. Update 2. A week later, I met with my lawyer. I had the screenshots from Vanessa's phone, which my lawyer said would be helpful. I also had documentation showing I'd paid for most of our shared expenses, which mattered for asset division. Vanessa moved in with her sister. She tried to reach out through mutual friends, asking them to convince me to give her another chance. Most of our friends sided with me once they heard the full story. A few said I'd been dramatic with the Christmas ambush. But honestly, I don't care. Claire reached out to me a few days after Christmas. She thanked me again and confirmed she'd broken off the engagement. She said Marcus had tried to claim nothing physical happened between him and Vanessa, but the emotional affair was enough for her. She'd dodged a bullet, and so had I. Marcus apparently lost it after the breakup. According to mutual friends, he blamed Vanessa for ruining his relationship, and Vanessa blamed him for ruining her marriage. They're both right. Final update. It's been 2 months since Christmas. The divorce is moving forward smoothly because Vanessa doesn't want to fight it. I think she's embarrassed and just wants it over with. We're selling the apartment and splitting assets 60-40 in my favor since I paid for most of it. I've been staying with my parents while I look for a new place. It's been good. Lots of family dinners, game nights with my sister, quiet time to process everything. Vanessa sent me a long email last week. She apologized for everything, said she'd been confused and made terrible choices, that she never physically cheated but understood why I felt betrayed. She asked if someday we could be friends. I didn't respond. Maybe someday I'll feel differently, but right now, I just want her out of my life. Claire and I got coffee last week. Not romantic, just two people who went through similar things comparing notes. She's doing well, starting therapy, focusing on herself. She thanked me again for reaching out and said if I'd stayed quiet, she might have married someone who would have kept choosing his ex over her. As for me, I'm doing okay. Some days are harder than others. I miss being married, but I don't miss being married to someone who didn't respect me. My family keeps joking that I won Christmas, and honestly, they're not wrong. That dinner table scene will be talked about for years. My mom already said next Christmas I get to approve all guests. Edit 1. People keep asking if I feel bad about ambushing them on Christmas. Honestly, number. They chose to lie and sneak around. I just chose the timing of when the truth came out. If they didn't want to be embarrassed in front of family, they shouldn't have done embarrassing things. Edit 2. Lauren's video didn't go viral or anything, but it's definitely been shared around our extended family and friend groups. Vanessa's mortified. Marcus apparently deleted all his social media. Claire is living her best life from what I can see on Instagram. Edit 3. Someone asked what my dad said when it all went down. After Vanessa left, he came over, put his hand on my shoulder, and said, "Son, that was the most interesting Christmas we've ever had." Well done. Coming from my dad, that's basically a standing ovation.